So let's get to my SEC picks for the week. And I'm starting with LSU Florida because this was almost going to be an interesting game. It was almost going to be an interesting game. Not because LSU was almost going to be a college football playoff at-large team. Their playoff hopes actually aren't done. LSU can still make the college football playoff. They just have to win the SEC. And guess what? That's possible. Remember, they're a 3-loss team, but one of those losses is to USC. So they're not out of it just yet. They're in need of a bounce back here, I think, for the morale of the locker room, morale of the fan base, and to quite literally keep their SEC title hope and therefore playoff and national championship hopes alive. It's still possible. On the other side, I think the only reason Florida fans have to go to this game is to find a reason to drink. Because LSU has something to play for. They're a better team. They just got their butts kicked on their home field the week prior. I wouldn't want to be Florida in this spot. I really wouldn't. Because the Gators offense, you're not going to be able to do a lot. Even against an LSU defense that has been up and down, I think Blake Baker's doing a solid job. Both he and Dan Tinlin, who is USC's defense coordinator, they've made those units better, but they need to take another jump in week 2. But that's an off-season topic. So I think LSU goes on the road here. And yeah, Florida might want to play spoiler a little bit. I think eventually the limitations are going to show up. I just expect a bounce back spot from LSU. That's what I see in this game. So give me LSU to win the game 28-21. A little bit closer than you'd think, but I think LSU wins. I think LSU covers as well. How about Texas? Texas is going to Arkansas. I like the Hogs to cover. The Hogs have been a home double-digit favorite before, and they gave Tennessee their only loss of the season. I'll talk more about Tennessee and Georgia in just a moment, but spoiler alert, yeah, I do indeed think Georgia's going to win the football game. I think Texas will win in this spot. I'm curious to see how Quinn Ewers looks, because on a week-to-week basis, we get a lot of up and down with Quinn Ewers. Sometimes we see him and he plays great, and he looks like a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. And then you see him and you go, how much worse could Arch Manning be? That is the Jekyll and Hyde nature of Quinn Ewers. And I have not written off Arkansas as being a bad team. Yeah, they got blown out by Ole Miss. Okay. Did you know that Ole Miss is a really good team? Yeah, they are a really good team. I think Arkansas is going to cover this in this spot. I'll take Texas to win 28-16. Weird score. A lot of field goals for Arkansas, not as many for Texas. I think that's how they pull away in this spot because I like Texas's defense a little bit more than I like Arkansas. A good bit more than I like Arkansas's. But I don't expect Texas to go in and put up 40, 50 points. I mean, LSU, or Ole Miss rather, went in and put up a lot. The number started with a 6. I don't think that Texas does that here. I think it's interesting. I wouldn't be shocked if Arkansas wins the game. But as I've said before, I'm rooting for Texas because I want the maximum stakes for Texas A&M in the last week of the regular season. How about Auburn? I can't even with Auburn. I believed in them before the year. I was very wrong. They are not good. Going with Peyton Thorne at quarterback, a disastrous decision for Hugh Freeze. Auburn is a quarterback away. They've got the receivers. They've got a preseason all-conference running back. Their offensive line's respectable. Their defense can play. They don't have a quarterback. And for Hugh Freeze, that's a problem. That he cannot elevate an average to below average quarterback talent in Peyton Thorne to be an average or slightly above average player, that's not a great sign. They're playing Louisiana Monroe this week. Do you think they're going to cover 14? Why? That's my answer. Why? Or not 14, the number 24. Sorry, 24. But I think they're going to win by around 14. I don't even know why. I guess the defense, I suppose, Auburn 20-6 over Louisiana Monroe. I do not like Auburn's offense at all. Speaking of offenses I don't like in the SEC, the Georgia Bulldogs play this week. I said earlier, I think this is a bounce back spot. The questions about Nico Iamaleava would certainly change my perception of Tennessee here because I know you got a 5th-year backup in the system. He's the backup for a reason. And this is not a guy that feels like he's, next to the heir to the throne, next in line, anything like that. It's just, he's who Tennessee's backup quarterback is. So if he ends up playing, Georgia wins, Georgia covers. They're favored by 9.5 according to our friends at FanDuel. Georgia wins and covers if Nico doesn't play. If Nico does play, what inclination do you have to say that Georgia is going to win by 9 or more points? Because they could hold Tennessee's offense under 14. But how in the How in the world do you look at what Georgia has done offensively over the last several weeks and say, yeah, I think against that Tennessee defense, which has been one of the best in all of college football, yeah, I think against that Tennessee defense, you're going to see Georgia's offense get right. No, I don't think so. I like Tennessee's defense more than Texas. So this is a spot where Georgia is going to play with that same sort of energy as they did down in Austin. That's my suspicion for Kirby Smart's team. But if Nico is playing, yeah, I'm taking Georgia to win a close one, but a low scoring one. 17-13. Georgia over Tennessee if Nico plays. If Nico does not play, 17-3. That's the final score. I'm not putting any faith in Georgia's offense there. No one's reaching 20 points in that football game. Elsewhere around the SEC, South Carolina is favored by 12.5 against Missouri. It feels like just a hair too much, though I like South Carolina and I don't like Missouri. This is one of those spots where, yeah, the way that it should play out on paper, don't think we're going to get there. Don't think we're quite going to get there. South Carolina, I think this is an overreaction line. I think this is a line where Vegas says, ooh, everybody loves South Carolina. Nobody likes Missouri. Here's this big juicy number, and people will bet on that, and they know that Missouri's capable of covering. Missouri's a fine team. They're not a playoff team like Eli Drinkowitz thinks, though they have the chance to kind of prove that, sort of, against a good South Carolina team on the road in this spot. I'll take South Carolina to win 27-17. They beat the Tigers. How about Texas A&M? Texas A&M, oh boy. They're playing New Mexico State. Good thing Diego Pavia is not there. Diego Pavia not in the house. He is not there anymore. That's a good thing, I think, for Texas A&M. They're going to be fine. I continue to root for the Aggies here. Texas A&M New Mexico State not even having a good year in Conference USA. They were in the Conference USA championship game last season. Yeah, and then everybody left. Has not gone quite as well for the Aggies this season. So it's a big number here. Take Texas A&M 56-3. Yeah, there you go. That's a number that I think Texas A&M is putting up. 56-3. They'll beat New Mexico State. And then I want to wrap by harping on something that I have said previously, will continue to advocate for until it changes. The late season SEC cupcakes are bad for everyone. Do you know where Murray State and Mercer are? Those are the opponents for Kentucky and Alabama this week. Some of you may be able to identify where those schools are. That's great. Congratulations. They should not be playing Kentucky and Alabama at this point in the season. Kentucky and Alabama should be playing each other. And Murray State and Mercer should be playing each other. That's what should have happened here. Instead, the SEC late season cupcake and the ACC does the same sort of thing. It's awful. It's terrible. These games belong in the early part of the season. First 3, maybe 4 weeks. I'll allow it. Everything from there on, it is just completely absurd that Bama, in the thick of a playoff hunt, gets essentially a bye week. They get a tune-up week while other people have to play actual conference games. It's absurd. It is laughably bad, but hey, that's college football sometimes. Appreciate everyone listening. I will see you next time, and until then, hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.